Welcome back to Green Living with T. Well, today we're answering a question most people really never consider when treating joint pain. Is your gut actually potentially the root cause? And we've often would separate digestive health from our physical mobility or pain, but reality is they are deeply intertwined. And to help us demystify this critical link, we are sitting down with Dr. Joe Nieusma, a renowned toxicologist and founder of Superior Toxicology and Wellness. And he's here to explain how gut function can dictate inflammation, drive your joint health, and ultimately control your overall vitality. And he has over 37 years experience, has built a distinguished career in the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical device industries, where he focuses primarily on issues related to employee and patient safety. But he is a leading expert in toxicology and specializes in evaluating the exposure to drugs, chemicals, biological agents, and my favorite, environmental toxins. Dr. Joe brings a deep scientific approach to holistic care through his toxicology work and bridges that gap between hard science and natural wellness. Dr. Joe, welcome to Greenland with Tea.
Thank you so much for having me on, T. I'm looking forward to our discussion and see if we can stay on topic because there's so much to talk about and everything is intertwined, and it'll be fun. See if we can hit some 30,000-foot peaks and generate some questions and answer some other questions and just see what we get.
Yeah, I mean, I do this podcast to open up people's eyes to everything that's going on in our lives and world, and primarily environmental toxins, which I focus on a lot. I was lucky I was raised that way. Our mom really was ahead of her time in the 60s, but I interview people like you because it opens people's eyes to all the different things that they really should be paying attention to. And our gut health is so important. And not a lot of people really understand that. They go to the doctor for pain and they're given medication. Unfortunately, that's how primarily
That's
doctors,
the Western world of physicians.
Exactly right. That's how they were trained. It's not their fault, but that's how they were
it was
trained.
The Rothschilds that took over the Western medicine training system when they stopped doing preventative care and started treating signs and symptoms, and just started putting people on drugs after drugs after drugs. Drugs to treat what the first drug causes, and then drugs to treat what the second drug causes, and before you know it, the physicians are only as smart as the last drug rep that sat across their desk. They've lost their critical thinking skills. They have absolutely zero training in nutrition and just preventative type of strategies, and they're generating long-term customers. And their practices like that. Their practices thrive in that. And it's just during the height of the vaccine stuff that happened recently, I actually got wind that some pediatricians got huge bonuses, like $50,000 to $100,000 from vaccine companies if they could get their pediatric patients fully vaccinated. How is that doctoring? I mean, that's pure lining your own pockets so you can buy your vacation home or your second home and frankly not give a shit about your patient's health. But I'm a toxicologist with 38 years in the biz, and I've made a living from the pharmaceutical industry. It's always been, I always like to put the caveat in there that it's always been patient or employee safety, because I'm the first toxicologist that will say drugs are not the answer. It's that simple. Drugs are not the answer. And I actually have a service on my website, superiortoxicology.com. You can also find it from Dr. Joe for Hope, that when someone wakes up and they find themselves in polypharmacy, they find themselves on 4, 5, 10, 12, 15 different drugs, they don't know how they got there and they don't know what to do. Well, it's not a free service. Otherwise, that's all I would ever do. But if someone's on 5 or less drugs, it's like $150. If it's 6 or more, it's $250. So not a lot of money. But I'll look at your drug history, why you're on it, how long you've been on it, what your doses are, and I'll give you strategies and questions to ask your physicians to challenge them. Why do I need to be on this drug product? It's one of the most fulfilling things that I get to do personally, one on one with people to help them get off of drug products. And I tell you, T, people get their lives back when they
Mm,
realize they don't need all of this pharmaceutical garbage in their bodies.
yeah.
Because pharmaceuticals, when you take a pharmaceutical, gives it two opportunities: the opportunity to do what you want it to do, and the opportunity to do everything else that it does. If you've ever read a package insert, those pharmaceuticals have lots of actions. Steroids in particular, they may have 50 different actions in the body, but they do the one thing that you need it to do, but they also do the other 49 others. And all of those actions cause other actions. And it's just a cascade that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And most of the drugs people are on are side effect maintenance. And some of the worst drugs people can be on, I think, are the statins, because they wreck your liver. And you can do the same thing that statins does by diet and exercise. Imagine that. Antidepressants. Half the world is on Prozac. There's studies in the scientific literature that actually show you can get the exact same effect as antidepressants by buying yourself a puppy.
Oh, oh, I'm a dog
I mean,
lover, so I get it.
who wouldn't want a puppy over destroying your body from pharmaceuticals that the
Hmm.
doctor's going to tell you have to stay on the rest of your life? And other things, these the GLP-1 things nowadays, they might be getting better, but the first generation, yeah, you lose weight. It's a lot of water weight, but you're also losing critical muscle mass. And the risk benefit analysis never seems to be conducted by your physicians. You know, I'm a 50-year-old fat guy. Yeah, I'm actually 58. And it took me 58 years to get this big. I like to tell people, well, I'm Dutch and I got Viking blood in me. So I'm bigger than 98% of the general population to begin with, other than your outliers that play NFL football and stuff. So there's a difference between being big and being unhealthy. But as a big guy, you still see a lot more wear and tear on your big joints, your hips, your knees,
Mm,
your ankles. And it's like me, I ask a lot of my body every single time I get up from a chair, or every single time I want to go outside and mow the grass or walk the dog around the block, and it's just, but you can't not do that stuff. You got to find a way to get by. And I think there is absolutely no strategy, pharmaceutical wise, that you're going to be able to pop a pill and be able to be back to your
mm.
teenage fighting weight in a month. It took you decades to get there. There is no simple, fast, lasting cure. And it's all
Yeah,
pharmaceuticals based, you know?
yeah, yep. You
And
you touched. Go ahead.
when you start with the pharmaceuticals, most people don't realize how interconnected everything is. You start messing with the balances, and it messes with the rest of you.
Yep.
It's people say the mouth is a conduit to your cardiac health. In that same vein, I feel the gut is a conduit to your overall wellness. As your gut goes, the whole body goes. And you could probably talk for days on this,
Hmm.
but that's really the mantra. And the first thing I like to point out to people about the gut in the humans, if you think about it, the gut is outside your body, because it's connected at the mouth and it's connected at the other business end. And in the middle of that, this is outside, the other part is outside. So everything that's inside the gut is technically outside your body. Think about that. That's by design for a reason. Because if the 6 inches between your head says, let's try this, and takes a bite and it's bad for you, what does your gut do? You vomit you have diarrhea, you get rid of it as fast as you possibly can, because technically that bad thing that you're trying to absorb into your body is still outside the body, and the body wants to get rid of it as fast as possible. Make sense, or clear as mud?
Yep. Nope. Totally makes sense. Absolutely. Our
That's
gut.
your first round of defense against a lot of stuff. I wonder why the body doesn't vomit up a bunch of pharmaceuticals, because it's hidden. It's not, it doesn't come with all the packaging. It's stripped down to just the active ingredient, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Think about that if you could.
And they, as you said, they start layering one pharmaceutical on another. And how is that affecting your overall health amongst everything else you're putting in your body, on your body, environmental toxins and whatnot? But
Yeah.
you touched on something that our medical traditional doctors, which we need them, and there's some medicine that is I mean, antibiotics or whatever, but they are not trained. I like that you touched on that, and you touched a little on history. They're not trained to prevent uh for prevention. They're trained to give you something, to
Oh,
put a
yep.
band-aid on an ailment, not to say what let's step back and look at the root cause. So I always like for people to understand that, because that's how heart doctors are going to give you a statin. They're not going to look at let's fix your diet. Let's take, maybe milk thistle or something else that could help your liver, that could be overloaded right now and causing some
Most
of
people's
this.
are. Yeah, most people's are. I mean, most of the detoxification pathways in the human body are vast and redundant, and they are very useful. Otherwise, humans would have died a long time
Yeah,
ago, because there's
right.
plenty of toxic. We live in a soup of toxic exposure,
Yep.
but they can still be overwhelmed. I mean, the soup of toxic exposure we live in, there's stuff in our water, there's stuff in our food, there's
Yep.
stuff in our air, there's stuff in our environment. And it's not just physical hazards. I mean, it's physical hazards, it's chemical hazards, it's energetic hazards. They all hit the same chemical mechanisms that protect us. And obviously we're billions of cells. I always like to simplify it and say, let's call the human body one cell. All right, we're a big amoeba, one cell. And we have a bucket of cellular defense mechanisms. Everything that hits us, whether it's in the water, in our food, in the air, take something out of that bucket to eliminate it, to neutralize it, to make sure it doesn't poke a hole in us somewhere. We start leaking out of it. As long as there's stuff in that bucket of cellular defenses, humans are going to be okay. The poster child in that bucket, everybody's heard of it, is glutathione.
Mm.
Glutathione is that thing that just picks up reactive oxygen species and the things that cause inflammation, and they neutralize it. There's lots of other things, but glutathione is the poster child. Vitamin C is another one, a good antioxidant vitamin. And most of the damage that happens in the body has a root cause in inflammation, oxidative stress and inflammation. Unchecked, rampant inflammation is insidious. That's a big fancy science word for it. Gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse over time. Most people don't realize that it's a cumulative effect, which is why when we're young and dumb in our 20s and running around like we're immortal, that, hey, we can do anything and nothing's going to hurt us. And then the 30s, we slow down a little bit, but still think, I can still do this. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's just like, oh my God, what is happening to me? It's all about rampant inflammation that wasn't controlled. You can control it with a whopping dose of vitamin C. You got that vitamin C. The dose says to take X on it, but taking X is just barely scratching the surface. You need to take a lot more of that if you're really going to curb this tide of inflammation. And there is something better than vitamin C for inflammation. And it was discovered in 2012. It's carbon 60. Now, everybody's going to go Google carbon 60, and they're going to get the hit pieces on it that say, don't take this, it'll hurt you. Well, those hit pieces are true for two reasons. Impure carbon 60, where you get side chain toxicity, and solvents in the processing, where you get solvent toxicity. But if you are a buyer beware in the market of carbon 60 and you get a good quality, ultra pure carbon 60 with no solvents in the processing, then carbon 60 can be a very good tool in managing inflammation. So that inflammation is what modulates all your organ systems. It modulates your liver function, it modulates your renal function, it modulates your circulatory system, it modulates your gut function. And if your body doesn't have a daily firefight against inflammation that's unchecked, then it has resources to help do what your body does divinely, which is heal. Your body knows where it's hurting. It knows where to put those resources, and it just needs to have the resources available. And that comes from cleaner living. That comes from greener tendencies. That comes from not drinking tap water, which is just barely designed not to kill you. And you run it through some sort of a filter, from at least a carbon filter to maybe a Brita to maybe a zero water 5-stage filter, or some whole house system. And that eliminates your water stuff. And then you eat less processed foods. You eat more whole, you eat more raw, you eat, the best diet information I guess I ever got was from a lawyer. Imagine that. I was
Go figure,
I was
right?
doing a deposition on a drug case somewhere, and the deposition was going to start in the afternoon. So the lawyer and I were having lunch together, and knowing that he was sitting with a toxicologist and we were sitting there having lunch, he says, the best food advice that I've ever heard is eat half and mostly plants, and you're going to be okay. And I got to thinking about that. He's absolutely right. If you eat half of what you think you want, and in that half you eat mostly plants, you're going to be fine. Can you do it? That's tougher. Can you do it?
Yeah.
But if you have that mantra before you sit down and you mouth through a bag of Doritos while you're watching late night TV, you're going to be better off. And so if you manage your eating, then that also decreases or helps to manage some of the bad things that result in inflammation, that result in all of these physiologic changes. And there are some things in the diet that, the thing that sticks out to me is the tomato skins that you chew up, but they still stay very sharp and they still stay very deleterious to your one single cell capillaries in your deepest parts of your gut. And some of that can cause physical trauma where you rip holes in your gut. I'm not saying stop eating tomatoes, because I love tomatoes. I have tomatoes on everything. But sometimes it's something as simple as that can result in holes in your gut where things that are supposed to stay inside then get outside. And when you have things that are supposed to stay inside your gut and go all the way through and pass through the other business in, but they leak into your abdominal cavities, that creates inflammation. And if
Talk about that a little bit, the leaky gut, because you hear about the leaky gut a lot.
Yes, exactly. And that inflammation is what causes those little local changes in areas around where those holes in your gut actually are. And if they go unchecked or unmonitored or untreated, or like the cause of what's going on, whether it's, my example was tomato skins, that if that doesn't change, the problem gets worse. Your body deals with it over time. The body is very good at paying the piper again and again and again and again and again. But when the bucket of cellular defenses runs out, that's when those reactive oxygen species starts hitting macromolecules, enzymes, receptors, DNA, RNA, other like cellular membranes. And these reactive oxygen species are like darts. They just poke holes and stuff. And after a while, with enough holes, the cell becomes incompatible with life. And if you have enough cells that are having problem and die, then you're going to have a tissue death. And if you have enough tissues that have a problem with too many holes in it, then you're going to have a tissue death, which leads to organ death, which leads to host death. So it's all about managing what's going on. Now, it's not only tomato skins. Think about pharmaceutical products. Pharmaceutical products can poke holes in your single cell capillaries. And it's by the mechanism of action. It's individual to the type of pharmaceutical product that's going on, and it can happen slowly over time, so your body adapts. And leaky gut results in a lot of non-specific, ambiguous types of signs and symptoms. So most people, unless they are very in tune to what their body is trying to tell them, will miss it. And it comes out as chronic fatigue.
Mm.
It comes out as kind of cloudiness in your head.
Brain
It
fog,
comes out
right?
as, yeah, brain fog. Yes, it comes out as just lack of motivation, no energy. And these types of things that originate in your gut, if not dealt with, can then emanate to other systems. And it's the inflammation that then drives the pain in your body. And where is your pain points? Your pain points are at your wear and tear. I mean, if it's not pain in the gut, which can be, and I mean, leaky gut can cause debilitating gut pain. Don't get me wrong. And it's someone, they always say, oh, it's irritable bowel. Oh, it's
Heartburn.
restless leg. Oh, it's heartburn. Yeah, exactly. Take antacids. Guess what?
Hmm.
Another pharmaceutical product without dealing with the root cause. And then what that can lead to is knocking your immune system out of whack.
Mm.
The immune system is really a workhorse for the human body. And as long as it's operating properly, it's one of those things that stays behind the scenes. Nobody ever says anything about it. And it's just expected to toe the line and be a good little immune system. Once it gets out of whack, it's very difficult to get back into whack. And it starts
Mm.
wreaking havoc on the body because immune system out of whack starts attacking yourself thinking it's foreign. Think about osteoarthritis. That's the arthritis specifically at your joints. Your joints are attacked by the system in your body that's designed to kill stuff that shouldn't be there. And it attacks this with none other than an inflammatory response and reaction. Inflammation is good when the body is in control of it and it's using it to kill what's not supposed to be there. Inflammation is bad when it's run off the rails. And you get what's called, if you remember back in the COVID stuff, cytokine storm was part of the way that the COVID virus killed. The cytokine storm is rampant inflammation where the immune system is called in the cavalry and you have all of these cellular responses coming in, and each one of these cells can start its own inflammation response even worse. And it piles on the body. The regulation is thrown out the window, and it's really like a train wreck that's off the rails, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's very serious and it's very dangerous. But that is the worst case scenario. If you're in tune with your body and you realize, oh, I kind of have a little upset stomach, upset gut. Why? What have I done that's different? Have I eaten something? Have I drank something? Have I taken a different pharmaceutical product? I mean, I had a perfect example of this last weekend. There was probably 4 couples. We went out to dinner at a brewery in Holland, Michigan, and it's a brewery that makes their own beer. So I had a little flight of 4 different kinds of beer, and then picked my favorite one, and then had a bigger one of the one I liked the best. Boy, did my gut make me pay for that decision. It's
Really?
just, oh God, it was horrible. I was up all night long. And it goes back to the old adage, at a 58-year-old, yes, you can drink like you used to, you just can't recover.
Mm. We hear that all the time.
Yeah. And because you're feeding your body different nutrients from different sources, from different root elements and molecules, and your body is saying, hey, what gives? As you age, your body loves routine. That's why us old guys like the same thing for breakfast every day. We can have our couple eggs and we can have a slice of toast and some piece of fruit, whether it's an apple, orange, or whatever. But you start to vary that, and later on in the day, you find different. I mean, I have it pegged. If there's anything sugary, a pastry, a donut, a cinnamon roll, a different kind of jelly, the gas by the end of the day is off the charts.
Your
And
body
why is that?
knows.
The body knows. You're absolutely right, T. And it's all connected. It's all connected.
What about the sugar aspect? You just touched on that because I feel like sugar is so it
Very
um
addictive.
yeah, very addictive, but it's in so many things. And
It's
I've
every,
read that it's related to inflammation quite a bit as well.
oh, it is. It totally is. It's more addictive than heroin.
Yeah.
Trying to get off sugar is one of the hardest things you'll ever try to do. But if you are trying to get off of sugar, start over every single time you fail. Do not give up on getting off of sugar. Read labels because they probably have 50 different names for sugar.
Hmm.
And it's all in the
Yeah.
labels. They have to put it there. And it's so rampant in US society.
Yeah.
If anyone has ever traveled anywhere else, nothing is as sweet as it is in the United States. It's and the sugar, the the sugar inserts itself biochemically in every reaction that goes on in the body. And um, if you don't dilute your sugar intake with more water, good water, not Coke, not
Right.
Pepsi. I mean, it's
Fake juice.
yes,
I
it
mean,
just
it's in
builds up
everything.
and it contributes to the problem. That's the best way to say it. It contributes to the problem. It links to inflammation. It links to
Hmm.
uncontrolled inflammation, and it links to long-term diseases like diabetes, pre-diabetes. It burns out your pancreas. And I tell you what, once you burn out your pancreas and you lose the control of your sugar in your bloodstream, you're going to be on pharmaceuticals the rest of your life. Is it recoverable? Yes, absolutely 100%. The body, if treated properly, will treat you properly. Change diet, change exercise. And this pre-diabetes that doctors have invented to get you on a whole collection of pharmaceuticals goes away. Goes away. My daughter is perfect example of that. You know, she's trying like hell to make it on her own, and she's lost 40 pounds in the last 6 months.
Wow.
And she just says that she just tries to eat once a day because it's cheaper. Okay, that's fine. You know, she can come over to the house anytime she wants and eats, but she loves the results because the doctor says, "Wow, you've lost 40 pounds. That's great. What have you been doing?" And she just says, "Eating less." And then her pre-diabetes is gone. The thought of getting on a statin is gone,
Mm.
and she hasn't changed her life at all, with the exception of watching what she shoves down the hole in the middle of her face.
Well, especially processed foods. I mean, they are so harmful to our bodies. I mean, how they can even be processed, but they cause
Well,
long-term damage too, don't
they do.
they?
And the definition of processed
Mm. Good point.
is
Yep.
loaded with chemicals.
Yeah.
All you're doing is increasing your chemical load. And let's say that the body, you know, you eat an apple, you chew it up, you pull what's good out of it, and you use it, and the rest goes straight on through. You eat a processed whatever it is, insert candy, cookie, cracker, boxed meal that's got 20 different ingredients. If you read the label, they're all there.
Processed meats, very common.
Oh my gosh, yes, sausage, bratwurst, spam,
Yep.
lunch meats,
Bologna. Yep.
bologna, yep, all of it. And the problem is they're the least expensive
Mm.
alternative on the
Right.
shelf, with maybe the exception of some fresh vegetables, which is the way everybody should go.
Hmm.
Fresh fruits and vegetables, and it's stay away. What do they say? They say shop the perimeter of the supermarket,
Right.
don't shop the middle.
Right.
And that's a great
Very
lesson.
true. Yep.
And it takes huge willpower to do that consistently, because who wants to eat coleslaw when Oreos taste so good? And the problem
Right.
is the Oreos, once you eat one, it's signaling your brain to
Addictive.
eat a second one. And
Hmm.
when you eat two, it's signaling your brain to eat four more. And you can't
Yeah.
stop that if you're not aware of that. And the power of suggestion in the food industry
Mm,
borders on criminality.
I agree. We were just talking about that this morning on our walk, that it's just to see how big people. My girlfriend was at the supermarket, and she's like, I walked around, I'm like, I just can't believe how big people are,
Yeah, they're
and
huge.
huge, and they're eating just total trash. And it's marketing and what the industry has told us that's
It's created. Yeah,
out there.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
it's
education.
freedom's down.
Mhm. Taking your own health into your own hands is so key, which you are basically talking about, that we've got
Right.
to read ingredients.
You
My
have to.
husband, I'll send him out for almond milk once in a while, and there's only one I want because it's got one ingredient. He'll come home with the other one. I said, Tom,
Send it back.
what ingredients are in that almond milk? He'll forget. He's like, oh no, I did it again. I'm like, yep, just read the back of it. What's the second ingredient? Sugar. He said,
Hmm.
oh damn.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, you got to take
And
it
the
back. I will
unsweetened is
not.
right there next to the sweetened.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Mhm.
So as you said, read the labels. They're so
Mhm.
key. And
It
I
is.
mean, see what you're putting into your stomach.
It goes back to another toxicological mantra. I say, if you're exposed to 10 things that are going to hurt you, if you can reduce or eliminate a couple, three of those, are you going to be better off? Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be able to take the environment in which people live and make it pristine? No.
No,
But you know what? If you believe what the Bible says, human body is designed to live about 135, 140 years. The thing that decreases that is environmental exposure.
mm,
And it's interesting that the study in 2012 that was done in Paris in a group, the guy's name is Bati, Baati, and his study was published. This guy, right after the discovery of carbon 60, said, "Well, I'm going to put this to bed. I'm going to feed a bunch of rats a bunch of carbon 60. We're going to watch them die. We're going to count legs in the air, divide by four, and publish that result." Well, as it worked out, rats live about 2 years, and they did a vehicle control and just a water control, and then the carbon 60 rats. After 2 years, all the vehicle control rats were or the regular control rats were all dead. The vehicle control rats were beginning to die, and not a single carbon 60 rat had died.
wow.
And they extended the study for a little while. They weren't giving them carbon 60 anymore. They were just letting these rats live. And the rat life was extended 93% before the scientific group got tired of taking care of the colony of animals and stopped the study.
Where did that
But
take place?
in Paris,
Okay.
the 2012 Paris study, the guy's name is Tarek Bati, Tarek Baati. You can find it. Google his name and carbon 60 study.
Wow.
And it's if you do a straight extrapolation from that rat number to human numbers, humans should live about 135 to 140 years. Imagine that. And all carbon 60 does is manage inflammation. Carbon 60 is like vitamin C on steroids. And it's a chemical reaction where this carbon 60 molecule, it's 60 molecules of carbon that create a ball. And these balls are small enough that they can go everywhere in the body. So they go where inflammation is happening and they stop it. And all of these conditions that hurt the body that have an inflammatory basis improve when people are using carbon 60. So it's actually quite useful. And the gentleman that created the one from Live Longer Labs, uh, he actually had a mom that was starting down pre-dementia, and she was losing her mental capacities. And it was right about the same time that Buckminster Fuller had made this discovery and won the Nobel Prize for carbon 60. So he formulated it into olive oil, which is in of itself a nice natural product. And he took a bunch of it himself to make sure it didn't kill him. Always nice. And then he gave it to his mom. And his mom regained, she was already 80 years old, but she regained all of her mental capacities.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of the best stories that he tells was that as an octogenarian, She left her little mountain town in Colorado, got on a bus, went to the nearest metro center, went to the Division of Motor Vehicles, took her driver's test, passed it, got a driver's license without having to wear her corrective lenses that she's worn for 5 decades. And then came back up to where she lives in the mountain town and told her son, Max, I got my driver's license. I want you to buy me a car. 80 something years old.
Wow.
Only thing that had changed is that Max had been giving her this carbon 60. Started managing her inflammation because those neurodegenerative diseases are based in inflammation as well.
So carbon six, okay, let's talk about this because everyone's listening, thinking, where do I get carbon 60?
You get it from livelongerlabs.com. And I'm the toxicologist that does all of the is this going to hurt you stuff. I don't benefit from that product at all.
Mm-hmm.
But my 86-year-old mother's been on it for 6 years. And my sister's been on it for probably almost a year now, managing her chronic Lyme disease. My son, who is 26 and is a elite athlete, just finished his college hockey career and is looking to play pro hockey. He is on it. He uses it for his recovery from his workouts. And I'm on it. My wife's on it. And it's one of those products that has a whole bunch of success stories that are all available on livelongerlabs.com. One of the best ones I like to talk about is a retired physician named Loretta Ivory, Dr. Loretta Ivory. She was suffering from macular degeneration. That's a condition in your eye that's inflammation based, that you just lose, you get a big black spot in the field of vision, and there was no treatment for it. And her eye doctors were telling her, prepare yourself to be blind. And being a physician and capable of critical thinking, she didn't accept that. And she found Max's product, and she used the product that was suspended in one of the oils. There's 3 choices: olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. And she used the amount that's designed to last a month every week. And she's got great pictures of this. Not only did she stop her macular degeneration, she reversed it.
Wow.
It's gone. And her eye doctors broke their arms, patting themselves on the back with what a wonderful job they did treating her by doing nothing. It was all carbon 60. And it was all just managing her inflammation. And again, if you Google carbon 60, you're going to find the pieces that say, don't take this, it'll hurt you. That's because of side chain toxicity, little things that hang off of those carbons. And that's because of solvents in the processing. So ultra pure carbon 60, solvent-free processing. One of the only ones on the market is Live Longer Labs. It's their C60 product, and they have it in a gel cap in black seed oil. That's the one that I like. And if anybody knows their natural products, black seed oil is absolutely huge. Nigella sativa. You can Google Nigella sativa, and you'll get 25,000 hits in half a second about all the benefits that it has for the body. But
can you take this with other supplements too?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
Okay, so it won't interfere with anything.
No, exactly. And those are the types of questions that get referred to me when they come to the website.
Right.
Is, hey, I'm on this. Can I still take it? And I've never run into any pharmaceutical or supplement that would, with the exception of one, that would be interacted with C60. And the one that I've run into is oxidative therapy. So if someone's on hyperbaric oxygen or hydrogen peroxide or ozone therapy or chlorine dioxide, that's if they're on one of those therapies, you need to space that out because C60 is an antioxidant. The other ones are oxidants. And if you take them together, they're going to cancel each other out. So other antioxidants can be taken with this one. It's just synergistic, but anything else that works in an oxidative capacity has to be spaced out from C60. But other than that, no.
So the bottom line is watch what you eat, exercise, and C60. You also say vitamin C as well.
And I'll add 2 more things to that.
Okay.
Watch what you eat, exercise, hydrate with good water.
Yep.
99%
Yep.
of the population is chronically dehydrated.
Yep.
And rest. All
Rest.
repair
Yes.
happens when you rest.
Yeah.
And if you're doing those things, you could probably get by without any supplements, because people lived without supplements for an awful long time, T.
Right.
And it's just it
They
puts
have, but our environmental toxins have just gone
yeah. Oh
out,
yeah.
out
And
skyrocket,
and and food has gotten worse.
food,
Food's
food.
gotten worse in the last 60
Yeah.
years.
You
The
said
soil's
something
depleted of
important
nutrients.
too, that, we walk outside our door, we can't avoid some
No, you can't
environmental toxins, but we have so much control over what we can eat,
eat and drink.
what we drink, the sleep that
Exactly.
we get, the rest that we
Yes.
get are so important that, and they're easy things to change. I mean, I say that,
Yeah.
some people
Preach
it
to the
might be
choir.
harder. Yeah, preaching to the choir. Your laundry detergent, what are you cleaning your clothes with? Where
Uh-huh.
else are environmental toxins coming into your house that you can control? So all
Yeah.
of this is incredible
And I've
information, and that add to the inflammation
oh
inside
yeah.
our bodies and the pain as we get old. I'm 63
Mhm.
and I feel very young, but when I get out of bed in the morning, yeah, am I like my feet, it
A
takes
little
I
slow.
got to stretch a little bit more,
I
but
got to stretch
that's,
before I get out of bed.
yeah, I do that too. I know.
And I've
But
actually go ahead.
no, 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 no. It's just, I was saying it was just really good advice. And I've
Yeah.
never heard of the carbon 60. I'm very interested in that. So I'm gonna look into that as
That's
well.
what it looks like. Live Longer Labs, carbon 60 black seed oil. It's a gel cap.
Lexi. Okay, I
Comes
like that.
150 in a bottle. You take 5 a day.
I take milk thistle also.
Uh-huh.
None of that will
None of it will. That's right.
interfere. Okay. I
I've
like to
created a
support my liver.
new toxicological niche in the last, I would say, I don't know, since 2020. Do you remember the big wildfire that ripped through a couple towns in Colorado on or right near New Year's Day in 2020? They called it the Marshall Fire. Uh,
Yes.
and then similar in Maui, and then similar
Yes.
in Southern California.
Yes. My air
I had
purifier company was trying to get them to all get air purifiers. So yeah, Austin
oh, they
area.
should. They absolutely
Yeah.
should, because the air purifier acts like your lungs do if you don't have one.
Right.
Uh, the I wrote risk assessments for people whose houses didn't burn down but got inundated
Mm,
with smoke. And there's all kinds of vendors that will say, you can go in and wash your walls down and move back into your house and you'll be fine after a fire. The industrial hygiene sampling and data tells a different story.
mm.
It tells a story of a house loaded up with particulate
Chemicals. Oh
matter,
God, yes.
with soot, char, ash, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, polychlorinated biphenyls, heavy metals, things like arsenic and cadmium and chromium and a whole host of other things. And then also even as far as dioxins and furans. Dioxins, with the exception of radioactive waste, is the most toxic thing in the world. And you have insurance companies and departments of public health telling people that their house is fine, go ahead and move back in.
Oh my gosh.
So I found this gap in the data, and I've wrote one paper, I'm writing a second one, and I have a third one planned. And I'll tell you what, T, publishing that paper has kicked the biggest hornet's nest that I've ever kicked in my life.
I could imagine.
There is such a good old boy network of how post-fire cleanup has been done for the last 100 years that is so resistant to change. It's not even funny. I've been through a couple depositions on my toxicological opinions, but it's human exposure to stuff that they shouldn't be exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Most of the
God.
metals mechanism of toxicity boils down to inflammation and reactive oxygen
Mm-hmm.
species. You're just adding something else in that mix that turbocharges the inflammation process. And so in doing that kind of work and interacting lawyers that you wonder how they sleep at night, and other people that,
Insurance companies.
yeah, they aren't designed to pay out. Insurance companies are
Mhm.
like doctors' offices in that they want long-term customers, but they don't want
Mhm.
any return to them. They don't want to pay
Right.
them anything. They don't want to make them better, and it's
Right.
just, how did we get here? How did we get here? And how do you best prepare yourself to fend it off? Well, you have to be your own best advocate.
Yep.
You have to find
Absolutely.
wonderful little things like carbon 60, and you
Hmm.
have to listen to people that have a little bit more knowledge in the field, like yourself, T. Your listeners put their trust in you to show them how they can change their lives step by step, because you can't change a bunch at once or
Right.
you'll fail.
Right. Yep.
And if you can change little things, get yourself a water filter. If you can change little
Mhm.
things, eat more raw whole foods, eat
Yep.
half, eat mostly plants. If you can change little things, get an air purifier, put it in your
Hmm.
house, that takes out those particles and that kills
Yep.
bacteria, viruses, mold, mildew, and then that decreases the load that you deal with every time you take a breath in. It doesn't charge your immune system. It doesn't charge your digestive system. There is less inflammation reactions. There's less histamine release. There's less reaction at your cellular level, so that your body is working properly more often than it's working in rescue mode. And if you can tip the balance
Hmm.
so that you're working properly as opposed to rescue, your whole general wellness will pull into line and get a little bit easier. And then it's just a matter of listening to your body. Instead of
Yeah.
radical changes, it's tweaks. See the difference?
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. It's simple to us, but yes, it's taking that first step in
You
the
just got to
right
have the
direction.
support system to say you're doing
Hmm.
great. Don't worry about falling off the wagon. Okay, so you went out to the pizza place, you
It's
ate
okay.
processed pepperoni,
Hmm.
and you drank it down with 14 Cokes. Flush that away. Don't do it tomorrow.
I
Have
know.
a salad.
Exactly. We eat really good here, but once my husband's like, I just feel like pizza, and I'm like, just go get it. It's okay
Mhm.
until I can cook
Don't eat the whole pizza.
pizza. Yeah, I'll make our own pizza soon, but well, there's so much. We could sit here and talk forever. I'd love to honestly interview you again down the
And
road.
if you get a lot of questions from your listeners that want to dive deeper into any specific area, I'm happy to do that.
Okay,
I'm happy to come back
definitely.
and be a guest again, and we'll talk about whatever people want to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's the first time I've ever interviewed a toxicologist.
Well, I hope I set the standard high.
Yeah, no, it was great information, and just coming from your background and everything that you know and you know have
It,
spoke about. So
I
it's been
try to
great.
keep things simple. I try not to use a bunch of scientific jargon that
Yes. Oh
clouds
gosh.
people's. It's just,
Yeah.
you can't sound like a doctor and relate to everyday people. It just
Yeah, I've
doesn't.
interviewed a few scientists and I'm like, okay, let's bring this back down because my listeners are just going like,
You need the
what?
secret decoder ring.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, you kept it simple today, and it really is. It is that simple. You watch
Mhm.
what you eat, you read labels, what you put in your body. I mean, I look at labels. I'm not going to eat something and if I can't pronounce that word. I'm not going to put lotion on my skin if I can't pronounce a
We
word.
forever read labels. And the thing
Hmm.
we watch the sodium level. I mean, those
Yeah.
process, yes, it's
Oh,
convenient, throw it in the microwave and eat it. But if you look at the sodium level and the
right.
percentage of your daily intake, oh my gosh, put it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Because sodium then makes you bloat and you have to drink more water. And it's just, oh my God,
Yep.
there's so many cascading items. We could talk about this all day, T. We
I
really could.
know, I know. And believe me, I could have gone off on the water because for everybody listening, go to Environmental Working Group, ewg.org,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
plug
fabulous
in
one.
water, and it will tell you what's in your water when you put in your zip code. And
Mhm.
it's pretty scary what's in our water in the United States. It's really an eye
Treatment
opener to
plants are not
anybody.
designed to take out what modern threats to our water system are putting in.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. The chemicals that we're drinking, the pharmaceutical drugs, the runoffs anyway. So I try to get everybody to go to that website. I've tried to read water
Oh,
reports And it's like reading Greek, just FYI, and EWG's scientists have broken it down for us. So it's a
Good.
good place to go. Actually, their website's
Good.
fabulous too. Well, thank you. This has been really a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing this. I enjoy meeting people like you. And, I hope that we can connect down the road again too.
We definitely will. I can feel it. Your listeners are already formulating their questions and coming up with their next topics. I'm happy to come back. People can reach me at superiortoxicology.com, and you can send me an email from that, or you can click on another button and you can call me, the phone that rides around in my pocket. I answer my phone whenever I can. If you leave me a voicemail, I will get back to you. Sometimes it takes longer, but I do get back to you.
I
You can
love
find
that.
out about the Dr. Joe for Hope program at drjoe4hope.com or from superiortoxicology.com. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Of course, you can always get me through T and your favorite podcast. And if you want to have me back talking about something specific, just let her know. She'll
Yep.
let me know, and we'll get her scheduled. In the meantime, have a blessed day.
What about social media? Are you on social media?
I am on LinkedIn and I am on Facebook. Other than, I mean,
Okay.
the other ones are active, but I don't know how to check them.
Okay. Okay. LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll put all these links on the show notes for anybody that's listening, driving in your car. You will be able to pull it up when you get to your computer or your phone. So, Dr. Joe, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to connecting down the road.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.